Venezuela, a land of paradoxes. Can you believe there's a country that holds the largest proven oil reserves in the entire world? Yes, even more than Saudi Arabia, yet its citizens often spend entire days waiting in line just to buy gasoline. That country is Venezuela, a place where money has become so devalued that at one point, people literally sold it by the kilogram at street markets. Sitting at the northern edge of South America, Venezuela is nearly 1.5 times the size of Texas, with a population of just over 30 million. On paper, it should be a paradise. Untouched Caribbean beaches, the Amazon rainforest, and Angel Falls, the tallest waterfall on Earth. Yet behind this breathtaking beauty lies a nation defined by contradictions. Here, you'll find natural wonders that seem otherworldly, alongside one of the world's most severe economic collapses. You'll meet people with a culture rich in music, festivals, and tradition, yet also burdened by poverty, crime, and political instability. Venezuela is not just a destination, it's an experience that forces you to rethink what wealth, survival, and resilience truly mean. Number 1. The oil paradox. Venezuela holds more than 300 billion barrels of proven oil reserves, the largest in the world. On paper, this should have made the nation one of the richest on Earth. In fact, for years, gasoline was so cheap that locals would joke it cost less than a bottle of water. With just a single dollar, drivers could fill up a 15-gallon tank, a luxury that people in countries like the United States could only dream of. But that dream collapsed quickly. When oil prices dropped and the government mishandled resources, the entire system crumbled. By the year 2018, inflation had soared to more than 1,000,000%. The bolivar, Venezuela's currency, was devalued so harshly that people used stacks of bills not for shopping, but for handicrafts. Vendors wove wallets, purses, and tablecloths from banknotes because the paper itself was worth more than the printed value. Even today, the numbers are shocking. The monthly minimum wage is around $5 less than the cost of a small block of imported cheese. And while Venezuela sits on vast seas of crude oil, it lacks the infrastructure to refine it. Much of the fuel in local gas stations comes from abroad, often imported from countries like Iran. So here lies the greatest irony of all. The nation with the largest oil reserves on the planet cannot even supply its people with fuel. When I think about this contradiction, I wonder, can wealth and natural resources ever guarantee prosperity? Or is it always about the decisions leaders make with that wealth? Number 2. Caracas, city of contrasts. From above, Caracas looks like a modern, bustling capital, tall buildings rising against the backdrop of the Avila mountain range, streets winding through valleys, and lights sparkling across the hillsides at night. But the moment you step down onto the streets, the reality shifts. Supermarkets often stand half empty, and banks limit withdrawals to just a few dollars per week. In some neighborhoods, people queue for hours outside ATMs, only to walk away with enough cash for a single meal. One of the most striking symbols of this paradox is the Torre de David. Originally designed as a luxury financial skyscraper nearly 600 feet tall, it was abandoned mid-construction after the 1994 banking crisis. Over time, thousands of families moved in, transforming the unfinished tower into what many call the world's tallest slum. With no elevators, residents climb dozens of flights of stairs daily, stringing their own electrical lines and piping water by hand. The building even developed its own economy: barbershops, small stores, and makeshift gyms, all within a concrete shell that was meant to represent wealth. Yet Caracas is not just hardship. It has also become one of South America's graffiti capitals. Across highways and barrios, walls bloom with massive murals stretching hundreds of meters, celebrating national pride, political resistance, and everyday life. For some, this street art is a lifeline, a way to turn frustration into beauty. And then there are the stranger corners, like the balcony of dolls in Santa Rosalia, where dozens of weathered dolls dangle from a railing, eerie and unsettling yet strangely magnetic. What began as one woman's eccentric decoration has become an urban landmark, drawing photographers and curious travelers from around the world. So Caracas is a city of contradictions: wealth and poverty, art and despair, beauty and decay, all existing on the same streets. When I think about this city, I wonder, does it reveal Venezuela's greatest strength or its deepest wound? Number 3. Crime, safety, and survival. If Caracas is a city of contrasts, then its crime rate is perhaps the darkest shadow cast over its skyline. Venezuela has consistently ranked among the most dangerous countries in the world, and in certain neighborhoods, the rules of survival have replaced the rules of the road. Take Pitar, for example, one of the largest barrios in Latin America. Here, drivers do not stop at red lights after dark. They know that a few seconds of hesitation can mean a robbery, or worse, a kidnapping. Even the police understand this reality, and instead of issuing fines, they quietly look the other way. Safety isn't enforced by law. It's negotiated through instinct. In the broader city, crime has become a reflection of economic collapse. When a monthly wage can't even buy basic food, desperation drives people into dangerous choices. Armed robberies, extortion, and kidnappings became daily headlines during the peak of the crisis. For many families, safety is not about locked doors. It's about calculating which streets are passable, which hours are safe, and which neighbors can be trusted. And yet, in this harsh environment, resilience shows itself in surprising ways. Communities organize informal patrols. Mothers form support networks to protect children on their walk to school, and neighborhoods often rely on unspoken alliances to maintain a fragile peace. So Venezuela's struggle with crime is not just about statistics, it's about survival in a system where the government cannot guarantee safety. When I think about this, I wonder, in places where law fails, is it fear that rules the streets, or is it the courage of ordinary people finding ways to protect one another? Number 4, the people and their culture. Despite the hardships, Venezuela's people carry with them a cultural pride that refuses to fade. This is the country often called the factory of beauty queens. Over the decades, Venezuela has produced more Miss Universe and Miss World winners than almost any other nation. Walk through the streets of Caracas or Maracaibo, and you'll see why. Venezuelan women often present themselves with elegance and confidence, treating beauty not as vanity, but as national identity. But culture here is not only about appearance, it pulses through music and dance. The national dance, joropo, has been alive for more than 2 centuries. With quick footwork that mimics the rhythm of horse hooves, it reflects the cattle ranching traditions of the Llanos grasslands. The sound is unmistakable. The harp, the cuatro, a small 4-string guitar, and the maracas, weaving together into a melody that is both festive and soulful. Entire towns come alive with joropo festivals, where families gather to dance until dawn. And then there are traditions that might surprise you. Each December, in the capital city, people lace up roller skates and glide through the streets to attend early morning Christmas Mass. For 1 week, cars are banned from certain roads, transforming Caracas into a festive parade on wheels. Children, parents, even grandparents roll through the city dressed in bright Christmas outfits. What began as a playful custom has become one of the most unique holiday traditions in the world. This is the paradox of Venezuelan culture, a nation struggling economically but still investing heart and soul into beauty, music, and celebration. When I think about this, I wonder, can a culture so vibrant and alive be the very reason Venezuelans endure the hardships around them? Number 5. Strange and fascinating facts. Venezuela is full of stories that sound almost unbelievable, the kind of details that make travelers shake their heads in wonder. Start with the capybara, the largest rodent on Earth. Locals call it chiguire, and these gentle, semi-aquatic giants can weigh as much as 150 pounds. They are so much a part of daily life that during Lent, when meat was restricted, the Catholic Church once classified them as fish, allowing people to eat them as a substitute. Imagine ordering a capybara stew in place of seafood. That's Venezuela's quirky history in a nutshell. Then there's the national dog, the mucuchis. With thick fur and a noble stance, this breed is almost impossible to find outside Venezuela. Originating from Spanish herding dogs in the Andes, mucuchis have become a living symbol of loyalty and courage. Statues honor them, and stories celebrate their role in protecting families and herds for centuries. Head to the Caribbean coast, and you'll find the tiny village of Chuao, world famous for its cocoa. The beans grown here are so prized that luxury chocolate makers in Europe bid fiercely for them. On sunny days, villagers still spread cocoa beans across the red-tiled courtyard of the old church to dry, just as their ancestors did 400 years ago. UNESCO has even recognized Chuao's traditional methods as part of humanity's cultural heritage. And in some towns, cash has become so unreliable that people return to barter markets, eggs for rice, cooking oil for coffee, clothes for medicine. The kind of trade system you'd expect to read about in a history book, but here it plays out in the 21st century. These are the everyday contradictions that make Venezuela unforgettable. When I think about them, I wonder, does the world see Venezuela as broken, or as a place where creativity and survival walk hand in hand? Number 6. Festivals and celebrations. If there is one thing that unites Venezuelans despite hardship, it is their love for festivals. Here, celebrations are not just moments of joy, they are lifelines of culture and identity. Take the Dancing Devils of Yair. Each June, entire communities dress in bright red devil masks, parading through the streets with drums and chants to honor Catholic saints. The sight is both eerie and mesmerizing, a ritual so unique that UNESCO has recognized it as part of humanity's intangible heritage. Or consider Carnival in El Callao, where Caribbean rhythms explode in the streets. Colorful floats, dancers in dazzling costumes, and steel bands pounding out music transform the town into a whirlwind of energy. For a week, life's troubles are forgotten as people celebrate in the same spirit as Rio or Trinidad, but with a distinctly Venezuelan twist. In Maracaibo, the Feria de la Chinita blends faith and festivity in November. A week-long event, it fills the city with concerts, parades, and fireworks, all honoring the Virgin of Chiquinquirá. Meanwhile, in Barlovento, the Fiesta de San Juan Bautista shakes the ground with the sound of drums that last from sunset until dawn, a blend of African heritage and Venezuelan rhythm. What makes these festivals remarkable is not their scale, but their defiance. Even in times of blackout, food shortage, or political turmoil, the people still dance, sing, and march. For Venezuelans, to celebrate is not just to have fun, it's to declare that their culture cannot be taken away. When I think about these festivals, I wonder, are they a distraction from reality, or the very reason the spirit of Venezuela has never collapsed? Number 7. Nature beyond imagination. If Venezuela's economy shows its darkest side, its landscapes reveal the opposite scenes so surreal, they look as if they belong to another planet. Begin with Angel Falls, the tallest waterfall on Earth. Dropping more than 3,000 feet, 15 times higher than Niagara, it plunges from the summit of a towering Tepuy Plateau into clouds of mist. The journey to reach it is an adventure itself. Wooden canoes drifting through jungle rivers, red cliffs rising around you, and the roar of water echoing long before you see it. No wonder Disney's movie Up used these landscapes as inspiration. The Tepuy Plateaus themselves are geological marvels, tabletop mountains so ancient they predate the Andes and the Amazon. Rising abruptly from flatlands, their sheer cliffs and misty summits have isolated ecosystems where plants and animals evolve nowhere else on Earth. Many scientists describe them as islands in the sky. But Venezuela's wonders don't end in the jungle. Along the Caribbean coast, you'll find Cayo de Agua, a pristine beach so white and water so turquoise that travelers compare it to the Maldives. Offshore winds at Playa El Yaque are considered the most reliable in the world for windsurfing, drawing athletes year-round. And deep in the darkness of Guacharo Cave, thousands of nocturnal oilbirds swarm out at dusk, a natural spectacle as mysterious as it is rare. These landscapes are reminders that Venezuela is both fragile and powerful. The same land that suffers economic collapse also offers some of the most extraordinary natural treasures on Earth. When I think about this contrast, I wonder, how can a nation so rich in nature remain so poor in opportunity? Number 8. Cuisine and flavors. If you really want to understand a country, taste its food, and Venezuela's cuisine is as full of contrasts as its society. Start with the arepa, the national staple. It's a simple corn cake, grilled or fried, then sliced open and stuffed with anything from shredded beef to black beans to melted cheese. For Venezuelans, an arepa is what a sandwich is to Americans. You can eat it morning, noon, or night, and every family has its own twist. Then there's pabellón criollo, the national dish. A colorful plate of white rice, black beans, fried plantains, and shredded beef. It tells the story of the nation in flavors. Indigenous corn and beans, African plantains, and European beef, all blended into one dish. Holidays bring out even more unique flavors. At Christmas, families prepare halakas corn dough stuffed with meat, olives, and raisins, wrapped in banana leaves and steamed. Think of it as Venezuela's version of tamales or even a tropical Christmas parcel. Each household guards its own recipe, passed down through generations. And then there are the drinks and sweets. Venezuela is known worldwide for its rum, smooth and dark, often compared with the best from the Caribbean. Cacao from Chuao, as we heard earlier, is considered some of the finest on earth, transformed into chocolates that sell for premium prices in Paris or London. Street stalls, meanwhile, serve cachapas, thick corn pancakes topped with soft white cheese, or sweet treats like quesillo, a caramel flan beloved at family gatherings. Venezuelan food is hearty yet inventive, familiar yet exotic. When I think about these flavors, I wonder how can a country that feeds the soul so well still struggle to feed its people every day? Number 9. The hidden tribes and the Amazon. Far from the bustle of Caracas, deep in Venezuela's southern jungles, life takes on a very different rhythm. Here, in the vast Orinoco Delta and the Amazon basin, indigenous tribes continue traditions that predate modern borders. The Warao people, whose name means people of the canoe, live almost entirely on water. Their homes are stilted wooden huts above rivers and mangroves, and every family owns at least one canoe. For them, a canoe is not just transport, it is as essential as a pair of legs. They fish, trade, and even socialize on the waterways, weaving hammocks and baskets from palm fibers in between journeys. Then there are groups like the Piaroa, known for their spiritual rituals in the heart of the forest. Shamans wear masks crafted from bark and feathers, performing dances meant to summon the spirit of the jungle. Drums echo like thunder while throat singing imitates the cries of animals and birds. These ceremonies are not entertainment, they are prayers for harvests, health, and balance with nature. Legends from these tribes add layers of mystery. Some believe the rivers are guarded by giant spirits, while others tell stories of sacred mountains where the souls of ancestors still reside. For outsiders, these tales feel otherworldly, but for the tribes, they are the foundation of identity and survival. What's striking is how little interest many of these communities have in the crises of modern Venezuela. Inflation, politics, shortages, these are distant concerns. Their lives remain tied to the land and water, resilient against the collapse of systems that dominate the cities. When I think about the hidden tribes of Venezuela, I wonder, are they cut off from the modern world, or have they found the truest form of freedom by living outside of it? Number 10. Final reflections. Venezuela is a land of paradoxes. It holds more oil than any other country on the planet, yet people line up for hours just to buy fuel. Its capital city shines with murals and music, yet many of its towers have turned into vertical slums. It is the birthplace of beauty queens and vibrant dances, yet also one of the most dangerous places to walk the streets at night. Nature here is unmatched. Angel Falls, the Tepuy Plateaus, the Caribbean beaches, and the Amazon tribes remind us of Earth's raw wonder. Its cuisine, from humble arepas to world-class cacao, shows a creativity and richness that stands in sharp contrast to empty supermarket shelves. In the end, Venezuela is not just a nation, it's a question about how wealth is defined, about how culture survives crisis, about whether natural resources can ever guarantee prosperity. When I think about Venezuela, I ask myself, is this country a warning of how fragile prosperity can be? Or is it a testament to the resilience of people who continue to dance, sing, and hope against all odds? So tell me what struck you most about Venezuela: its breathtaking nature, its vibrant culture, or its heartbreaking contradictions? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because the world is full of countries like this, unexpected, unforgettable, and waiting to be discovered.